So Lanturn EX, this Pokemon is always going to be an interesting one because not only does it have a heads or tail in it, both of them give you an outcome, which is fantastic. Normally when you get a head or tails, tails means you do nothing or the attack is a lot less weak. With this, you get an ability to be able to put either paralyzation or confusion onto your opponent's Pokemon. Now we've gone into the decks and most definitely I found a fantastic one here. We have Zorora, we have Chinchou, Lanturn and Pichu, utilizing some baby Pokemon here. We then have the Pokemon Communication, Cyrus, Elemental Switch will be fantastic, Will, which we'll get into, X-Speed, Pokeball, and also Professor's Research. So we're not running with any of the actual kind of healing. We hopefully get everything we need once we start attacking with Lanturn. Now in this deck specifically, Lanturn's going to be the major attacker in it, and most definitely you want to get that flash and signal up and running as quick as possible. So the way that you would utilize this deck is Pichu is the one going in first. This is going to help give you that lovely energy straight off the bat. Now you will need Chinchou in straight away, or at least a bench Pokemon at the minimum to be able to utilize an elemental switch. Now with this deck you can run Zorora as well. What I would suggest is you probably want to keep Lanturn at the back, as you could potentially have Zorora giving himself an energy. So for instance with the Thunderclap, at the end of your first turn taking energy from your energy zone and attach it to this Pokemon. Goodbye battle passes and even coins from 100 all the way up to 58,000. There's also items and boosted available on Pokemon Go. When it comes to Pokemon Pocket, there's Pokegold that you can buy from the site, and also items such as trade-in from any stars from 1 all the way up to 3, and potentially more in the future. Eldorado also offer money back guarantee and also 24/7 live support. If you need any further recommendations, Trustpilot have plenty of Eldorado reviews that you can scan through and just check that this site is for you. And before you check out, make sure that you use the code POKEJT before you check out for 5% off your orders. Meaning you can go with the attack whilst you're waiting for Lanturn to be set up, and then once you're ready, you can retreat, elemental switch one of your energies from Zorora straight into Lanturn to do the attack. Obviously with Pichu, he's got the Crackly Toss, which doesn't require energy at all, but it takes an energy from the energy zone and puts it onto one of your bench Pokemon. Again, if that's Zorora, or if you quite haven't got Lanturn there yet, then you obviously could put it on him and still use the Elemental Switch as well. The main aspect is to get him in and get him going as quick as possible. He's only a stage 1, which is always fantastic, 150 on the HP. I'd say the main thing from this deck specifically is it is very frail. It's a deck that isn't necessarily built on layers. It has one trick pony, and you pray that you manage to hit it off pretty well, because it is a more disruption Pokemon is what it says in the kind of notes on the deck, and that most definitely is what it is. It gives you either a paralyzation or confusion. Paralyzation is obviously for the heads and confusion is for the tails. Now with paralyzation you can't retreat, you can't attack, there's very little you can do. Now that's where Will comes along, because Will as a lovely tool to help is going to be what really takes this deck to that next level, is because you can guarantee yourselves a lovely paralyzation, which is phenomenal. Because of Will, you can obviously go ahead and the next time you flip a coin, it is going to guarantee to land on heads, which is exactly what you want. The confusion's still fantastic, don't get me wrong. You're still potentially disrupting their attack, and more than likely the way that you go around Lanturn is you've got to either get it out with a Sabrina, a Cyrus to bring in something else, or then you have to go with kind of non-active Pokemon hitters. So for instance, something like a Greninja, a Darkrai, something along them lines would be the ones that would take Lanturn out without actually being in there, because obviously he is paralyzing and also confusing anything that steps foot with him. So it is a pretty decent deck in terms of attacking, and if you can get the disruptions right, if you can follow that list and your heads and tails are on your side, you're going to do pretty well with this. So it is always an interesting one to see. Obviously having Cyrus, the elemental switch is kind of utilized, and most definitely like we've kind of seen, the only ways that you can kind of go around it from the active Pokemon is something like an Arceus or Pokemon Center Lady that will get rid of the effects in itself. And I believe, is it a Lumberry? I want to say one of the tools potentially does get rid of any effects as well. So this is why they've said Greninja, Darkrai, Weezing is going to be the best Pokemon to kind of go against it, because obviously they can attack whilst not being in the main driver's seat. And hopefully you do manage to get the attack on if you are confused or paralyzed as well. If you can get that off, that's going to be fantastic. But in terms of a Pokemon and what it attacks, I don't think it's a bad one. I really think this is an outside of the shop. It may not be the top of the top meta, but it's most definitely up there with a deck that could be played and win a fair few matches as long as you can get it in there and manage to get Lanturn set up. Obviously, when we do look at the likes of Zorora, he does have the 50 attack. Realistically, Pichu's going to be there just solely for that energy. Obviously, you've got Lightning Claw with 50, so you are really hoping on going for that lovely 90, or 80 in fact, to be able to do the hitters and do most of the damage. So let me know what about Lanturn and see if it's worth your time. Peace.